Good evening and welcome. Divine Creator, we ask that the light of highest awareness fill the minds and hearts of those who are open to your light. We ask that they be assisted and strengthened in their resolve to achieve peace using peaceful means. May their minds, their hearts, and their actions reflect the divine will to good for all. Comfort, strengthen, and support those who are in a difficult situation in their mind, body, or spirit. Bring confidence to them that your divine hand is at work in their life. Amen. Well, thank you for coming this evening. My name is Reverend Mary Huber. I'm pastor of the Community Chapel of Holistic Healing. We were formed in 1977 through the channel Reverend Michelle Luson, who was given the assignment through Spirit when Swami Shivananda appeared to her and asked that she create this organization and place it in the Washington, D.C. area so that there would be a light for the nation's capital here, among the others, but specifically here. We have a website, CCWH.com, where you can find our programs and hope that you can attend some of our other activities during the week. We are a nonprofit organization, and we would appreciate your attention to that. So, we always begin every meeting and our chapel with our, what we call them, 3 healers. They're the faith, hope, and charity affirmation, because these are given to Michelle from Spirit, and they said that this would balance all the different areas of the body and bring us into alignment. And so we always begin with this. So I'm sorry, go ahead with these affirmations. I believe in the spiritual existence of myself as a perfect image of the divine creator. In this experience that is my physical embodiment, I have faith in the supreme guidance of my soul for my balance, my needs, and my opportunities. Outside of myself, there are also perfect images, and nothing can delude my thinking otherwise. The hope affirmation, acknowledging my faith in the omnipresence of my divinity. I hope for realization, awareness, and acknowledgement of the existence of the great I am within myself. And the charity. In understanding faith and knowing hope, I pledge my actions, my desires, and my thoughts to the performances of myself on the physical planes of the earth, to honor, to love, and to enlighten all that is a reflection of the divine outside of myself, so that my perfection is imaged back to my Creator. So help me God. And this evening, I chose to talk about discernment. And that, first of all, is a rather large topic. So I acknowledge that up front, and we may not cover everything. But in today's world, this is probably the most important gift of the Spirit that you can acquire and ask for and help to develop. And it is a gift of the Spirit, by the way. And according to the dictionary, discernment is the power to see what is not evident to the average mind. This stresses accuracy in reading character or motives. Now, there are synonyms that are very similar to discernment. And they actually, if you look at all of them, discernment would encompass all of these if you really wanted to really get into the whole picture and power of discernment. Discrimination is the power to distinguish what is true or appropriate at the moment. Then another word would be insight, the depth of discernment coupled with understanding. And acumen implies characteristic penetration combined with keen practical judgment. And perception implies quick and often sympathetic discernment as to shades of feeling. So discernment itself is the kind of overshadowing or over umbrella kind of word that we really want all of those for ourselves when we think of the word discernment. Because if you use the word discernment in a sentence, the dictionary said examples would be his or her lack of discernment led to his disastrous choice of a partner, or it is important to use discernment to know when someone is a true friend. Now, all of that has great meaning to all of us because this is important that we can pick up on cues that are being given, whether they're physical cues of the body that you can read that, or some innuendos that are coming in, or insinuations in verbiage or in tone of the voice, or anything else that is appropriate to bring at discernment forward so that you can pick up on things that are a little bit off or like right on target. You want to know this, you want to be able to do that. So what I was interested in the dictionary saying it was beyond the average person. So I have to go with that and say the average person, it is implying, does not go beyond appearances. They mostly are emotionally reactive to a word or information or whatever is given to them. And that can lead you down the wrong path, of course. But perception has to have the mental processes involved. If you're going to be greatly discerning, you have to perceive it also through the mental, not as an emotional reaction. So we have to take thoughtful consideration of what's coming at us or what's being presented to us. And that means you're going to pay attention to what is going on around, because you can more easily bring that forward if you are paying attention, as we all know. Now, there are so many, what I think people call them spin doctors and con artists today, I think, than ever have existed in the world. This probably is because unscrupulous people rush in to get on the act when they see how well it works to be able to drive people exactly to the place that they want them to be. It's kind of, sometimes you feel like it's like a sheep going to market, because they're going to sell something, whether it's a physical item or turn items, or just for the sake of controlling the thinking and action of the masses or a great number of people. Twice today, I was preparing for this evening, and I heard the words movie stars, and I ignored it, and it came back again right before the beginning of the program this evening. And I'm going to have to say, I believe this was to remind me that this world is being managed behind the scenes in many ways, so that what we are looking at it would be as though we were looking through somebody else's script. And we have to find out what is true and what is not true. And so that leads us to the point in saying, why would we want to be a discerning people? Well, that pretty much covers it for me, because you don't have to be in the above average group to find the truth of what's being presented to you. You just need to be interested in acquiring discernment. Now, there is, as I said before, this is kind of a complex issue, because discernment involves understanding. When you get an input from somebody and you have a response or a reaction, it involves understanding yourself and understanding your emotions as well. And don't get me wrong, emotions are not to be ignored. On the contrary, they're to be listened to and understood, what they are actually telling us. Now, this is a field all on its own of study, and psychology has this pretty well wrapped up, and I think you could get a lot out of diving into this. So I can't go into that in depth, except to remind everyone that this Earth experience that we have is very unique. We have an emotional component to our life and that's not available everywhere in the universe. It's here on Earth, and because the feeling level, the band that is around this Earth includes this. This is part of the Earth's experience, and it gives us more dimensional understanding and experiences in life because we have it. Now, our body, of course, is part of the Earth, and that's why our body has an emotional response as well. And the emotional responses use the same pathways, our nervous system, our response system, that an intuitive impression can come in. So emotions are there to tell us something. Every emotion gives us an indication of how we're doing. And once you figure that out, you don't have to, you can decide what expression of that emotion you want to have, which would be at a very much higher level of performance on the plane when you understand that you have options. They give us that direct piece of information, and with observation, that means you bring your mind into it. They can be correctly understood and to be used in a very impeccable manner to get us through life much better. The main thing I think I would always want to say about this field in general is we are in charge when we want to be, when we take the time to understand, so that we don't let our emotions run away with us, where we are just blindly responding, because that is a whole other place that it takes us to. So when they're triggered, we stop and ask self, what's going on to bring this on? And what's valid and what is it actually saying to me? Now, the emotions that are most prevalent in the world today are anger and fear. And at least they would appear to be the most prominent. So that when you look at anger, it's telling us, what's it telling us? It's telling us that boundaries have been violated. That's really what it's saying. Now, you won't discover exactly what they are unless you kind of take a deep breath, stop, and like the old advice used to be, stop and count to 10. That stopping and counting to 10, they never knew what it meant. At least when I grew up, that was not in the field of psychology, what didn't exist in that way. But that was old advice that was well taken, because it would give you a chance to regroup and figure out how you want to respond. We're always responsible for our responses. Always. In addition, the subconscious levels, which connect all of us together, are, all of this goes out on the ethical and on the ethers, are picked up at that subconscious level by everybody. And we might be experiencing our feelings or emotions, and they're not really ours. So it is good to kind of stop a second and see, where is this coming from? Now, Michelle taught us that emotions are automatic responses to a stimulus, which comes from a belief system. Belief systems are taught as well to us, as well as our own life experiences give us a sense of this kind of what we believe is to be true. And these basic beliefs are rarely challenged by an individual as to their actual veracity. Many misconceptions are passed along to us by our elders, who in turn were taught by their elders, and it just gets pushed through, and no one actually stops and thinks, well, where did this start, and is this really true? So pursuing the truth could take some questioning and evaluation, and sometimes even research to get to that kind of belief system. Look at that. But there are so many people awakened today who are going into their spiritual side of themselves and going into the kind of understanding that they really need to break through a lot of those belief systems, or to sometimes that's how people get into the spiritual field altogether. It's because they have found they no longer have belief in something that they grew up with or that they were taught, and they begin to question everything, and they want to know what is the truth. So that often starts people off on their spiritual journey. But everybody's wired a bit differently. Some people immediately go to their mind and they do a mental evaluation. It's just their nature, while others just immediately take in what they're given and kind of believe it and respond to it. So, but as I said, spiritually aware individuals are seeking their balance of their body, their mind, their spirit, and the emotions. And true balance comes from looking at the higher and lower balance. Mind and heart must be in alignment when we find the action we need to take. Those two must come together, not one or the other. Violence or seeking revenge or any other destructive action against another is never anyone's higher way of doing things in life. It's not their higher self speaking. And the problem for many is that they just don't really understand who they truly are. So there's an old phrase that used to be used a lot, and people are doing something that they really could do better at. The phrase is, "You are so much better than that." And I want to tell you, that is true for all of humanity. If you truly understand the reality of your existence, why you're here and where you came from, solutions would be sought based on honesty, on truth, on common sense, and compassion. From that place, you can begin to understand your connections and the oneness of all life. And then truth and honor would be our everyday life. But let's go back to look at how to develop discernment. Now, since we are seeking to develop ourselves spiritually and act in line with our own highest values and intentions, we are taking a spiritual approach. And to me, discernment is a product of developing intuition. Now, as I teach my development class on Saturdays, intuition, that by definition is listening to and perceiving the mind of God within you, your own I am presence, your own divine creator. You want the mind of God or the mind of Christ to be contacted within you. It's because insights that come from that level of self are trustworthy and truth revealing. I believe this to be true discernment, to know who you really are. Once you know that discernment, that you are pure spirit inhabiting a physical form and why you're here. And once you know that your behaviors would match your highest calling, or at least you would be seeking to make sure that everybody would be improving if they could just stop and take an evaluation of themselves along those lines. It takes time to get rid of old ways because they're habits, and we certainly are witnessing that today. All of us went through this throughout our lives, and I think those who are present here on the channel this evening with me have been in this for so long now. You've kind of forgot that, we all had a beginning at some point, and we all were working to make those things happen if we didn't get the right start in life. And even if we did, we had things that we had to make up for or change or take a look at. And it did take time. And the interesting thing is when you learn, I don't know, when you go back and even reread some of your material that you've been reading to improve yourself, sometimes you even get another insight with the same old material that you didn't get before, years before. Suddenly you have a new insight. There's always levels of understanding about your own spirit and your own spiritual dimensions. That is a joy and a challenge, but it's also a wonderful enlightenment when you come upon it, that you think, oh, this I finally get. Now I finally get it. So we can do so many things to contribute to a better future, and one that would be filled with discernment and love and right action. Because as we are doing this, others notice it, others are affected, and others can follow our example. We are all to be way showers in our own ways. So we find out how our Creator actually interacts with us every day, every moment of the day. We do this through prayer and meditation, really, as our main tools. We start finding faith in God and self through this. And I think it's important to find that faith in God and self before we even go outside of ourselves. And our Creator does want us to do the seeking and try to establish conscious contact. Our conscious co-creation with God is really where our Creator wants us to be. Finding God, connecting in a very solid way, and then consciously co-creating exactly in the way that God would want us to behave and put in place, and the kind of elements that would be in it. And when we take one step toward God, God takes 10 steps toward us. We are always assisted in that. Now, I've been told by Spirit that there are many people who are losing faith today. And I take that to mean they are losing faith in God and in themselves. And if you look at our faith affirmation, it says, I believe in the spiritual existence of myself as a perfect image of my divine Creator. That is a powerful statement to say. It's a powerful statement to begin to understand. In this reflection, that is my physical embodiment, I have faith in the supreme guidance of my soul for everything, for my balance, my needs, and my opportunities. The alignment with soul, with your I am presence, is the key. Finding the Creator within. This inner journey is for the purpose. It's actually why we're here. Is part of that is to demonstrate that. Everything stems from that point. And fortunately, we have much help at every level if we ask for it, if we seek it. You have help in the physical and you help in the spiritual. We are never alone, and we are never left without someone or something to help us. And so this sets us up into a much higher frequency of living. Our highest values, principles, standards, and ethics are at those levels. Our soul exists at those levels. And from these, we will be informed about the rightness or wrongness of anything that is being presented to us. It is from here that we will accept or reject. It is here that we can make discriminating decisions. Discernment also requires mindfulness. How are you going to determine the truth in something that is presented to you by somebody in the media or just another person in your everyday life? Mindfulness means that you look at the thing or element, whatever it is, presenting itself without attachment or preconceived ideas. You look at it for what it is. Now, an object presented to you is easier to use as an exercise if you're going to do this as an exercise. However, here we're speaking of information, of opinions. Here you may have to do some research into a broader picture using a source which is also neutral. In my personal belief that people have a sense of right and wrong built into themselves that can be accessed if that individual would take the time to listen to their inner promptings. These signals come through the heart and are transmitted to the brain very quickly. The heart always knows the right answer. The brain itself can give you any kind of an answer that might be convenient at the moment. It potentially. So you want to always consult your heart. How do you feel about this? What does it feel like? By developing a daily relation with God within through prayer and meditation, we come to trust the promptings, which will result in right action. We come to trust ourselves. So, when you know faith, you will be able to pledge everything you think and do to be nothing but light and love in the world. Keep your faith always and never let anyone or anything disturb it. Hold your highest level of understanding as your measurement, and you will attract more and more light to yourself. Promise yourself you will never look down again, and help others to do the same. Only those with this outlook and vibratory pattern of positivity and love will be able to participate in a glorious new world where all of that will reign. Not too long in the future, too. I am told, my source had told me there was a switch that will be thrown at some point, and each person's, which then my read on that was each person's die will be cast. So it's important that we maintain our positive feeling, our positive understanding of life, and live that positive way. And let the lies, the manipulations, and the falsehoods drop from your consideration. Don't go there. And I have been told that there is mostly only lies being perpetrated by so many sources at so many levels today. So be loving, be joyful, be positive, and help all around you reach that ability. And you'll really, truly help the world. Now, Messages from the Pleiadians by Barbara Marciniak around 1988 also stated a warning that, quote, the social and political situations you currently face, personally and globally, include a series of very intense lessons of discernment. You are all challenged to see through the well-crafted, mind-boggling business of fear that has overrun the planet. Maintain your faith in a positive outcome for all you encounter every day. Might have been read in 1988, but I'm telling you, is this not appropriate today? It's still, we haven't gotten to the other side yet. So I understand discernment to be a tool for self-empowerment and spiritual awareness. These were qualities treasured from the very beginning and are an essential code of wisdom. When we expand our awareness, we must be willing to call a spade a spade. Freedom everywhere depends on being able to speak the truth. A new level of responsibility and honesty must come out of all of this. How you go about that is also part of your eternal evaluation on higher levels. Remember, what you think about and what you believe is now coming into existence with amazing swiftness. Your life force or chi is being impacted by cosmic energies more and more every day. Your thoughts, your feelings, and desires are like raw materials and building blocks to create your world very quickly. Always remember that love, though, is the primary source material. Now, in this time, it is told that only that which is created in love or with love is going to be supported by higher forces and will survive. Only those. This is why I think they need to have us understand the underpinnings for us when we're positive are going to be supported. We just can't afford to go anywhere else because, believe me, anything that's not supported by the higher forces is going to fall. It's going to crash. Then it may rain for a while, but it's not going to be there much longer, actually. So I've ended here with a picture depicting the signing of the Constitution. At least that's what the label said on it, which is in the nation's Capitol building. If we are going to be in the hands of light, we must find the truth of our alignment with God's purpose for this country and restore it. It will require discernment and courage. Now let's meditate. So as you're relaxing where you are in your seat, and those who are on the channel tonight with me are very familiar with relaxation and going within. I'm going to ask you just to do your deep breathing to relax the body, because the body has to be comfortably positioned and has to let go of tension in order to go within. Take your deep breaths, and with every exhalation, think of yourself as being more and more and more relaxed. And another breath in, and it's relaxing, relaxing. Keep breathing deeply as you can, and we will journey within. We're going to go to a place of clarity and higher vision. And when you are seated and you're relaxing, you know that you are positioning yourself there. You are well grounded. There is an energy that goes between your lowest chakra and the earth, and it's firmly grounded there. You have no difficulty being grounded. And while you are in the relaxed state and going within, you want to find the light surrounding you. Bring in the light and surround yourself with the light of God that protects you. And as you are going within, you are definitely centering yourself within, more and more relaxed and more in tune with the presence that is presenting itself to you. And I like to start every meditation by going first in an imaginary journey to my heart. Go to the heart, any place that you consider to be a space that would represent your heart. the heart within you that is so beautiful and bright and giving and wonderful. It should be a grand place, a place of great beauty and comfort to you. And imagine that. If you haven't built this place, you might begin your journey there now to build it. Because there's a great light there. And you might hear a big but soft heartbeat. It's the heartbeat of your spirit. And as you are found yourself in this beautiful place, it's of your imagination. Have it as beautiful as you can possibly make it. I'd like to see an altar in the middle of this place that represents the place where your I am presence has placed the other end of the silver cord that connects you to your highest self. The silver cord is anchored in your heart. And this beautiful altar holds the presence of your divinity. And you bow before the altar and acknowledge the God within you. And you seek to find your answer for clarity and understanding. And as you rise to your feet and turn, you are accompanied by many other light beings from many dimensions. And these beings are now taking you on an upward journey, possibly on a staircase, but any ascent that you would like to have. That these beings are taking you to a particularly high platform. And there, you enter a rose-colored crystal vehicle, accompanied by your companions who will take you to an even higher platform. You exit the vehicle. You're greeted. You are handed a basket and told that your journey was for you to find your perfect crystal, which will represent the heart of your Christ consciousness. You accept the basket and step forward. And your guide says, now go find it, and I will wait here for you to return with it. You can hear your guide softly calling you. Have you found it? And you return, bringing your basket. And you again enter the rose-colored crystal vehicle with your new treasure and return to the platform from which you came. And from there, you exit the vehicle and go back to the stairwell or the vehicle or the method you use to go up. And you gradually bring yourself back to your heart center. Enter your heart center and go to the altar. Go to the place, the heart seed atom, where your silver cord is connected, where the threefold flame exists. Your divine love, divine power, and divine wisdom, all there, along with the violet flame. The power you have within your heart is exceedingly great and beyond comprehension. You thank your creator and your guides, your angelic beings who accompanied you. And you return to your seat in this dimension, in your room, to the chair, and to your physical form. And thanking God for this joyful journey in which you were informed, healed, and assisted in so many ways, unbeknownst to you. The crystalline form that you have brought back is the heart of Christ and contains all the knowledge you will need for your discernment. Hold it close to you. And as you return now with great thanks to your Creator, you are refreshed and renewed and feel quite well and ready for a lovely weekend. And when you can, go to the CCWH website, where on there you can find our PayPal donation button, and we would ask if you can, please, to share something with us to help us keep the light going here. We do have some expenses, and it's always important to have those expenses met so we can stay firm as a community. I thank you for all that you have done for us. I thank you for your physical presence and for all of the attention you give to us during the week and the other activities that we have. Please notice what they are as well on our website. So thank you very much. And we'll always end with our "Let there be peace on earth, and may it begin with us."